it's probably going to take a couple videos to get through this because this is like an extensive Sudoku puzzle. There aren't really any huge intellectual jumps on how to solve it, but it does take a while, and it takes some creative thinking too, a little bit, to just kind of get there. I'm going to provide a link. It should pop up in this video so that you can, in a new tab, bring up the challenge and look at the hints, because that's really what you're going to want to do. If you're going to solve it, probably you had a piece of paper and you had the hints right there, and you just kind of, whatever the hints, whatever kind of setup you put up, you probably have the hints right there to look at. So I'm going to provide that for you. I have it in my Word document, so I can pull it up, and but you might want to see it at the by yourself. So anyway, so what I did was I set up a 5x5 matrix, and I put it in the order of their houses. The first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house. And then I put all the other criteria in columns here. And nationality. So I have the German, the Brit, the Dane, the Swede, the Norwegian for drinking, water, tea, milk, coffee, beer. And for smoking, I have all their different types of brands of cigarettes. For pets, I have all the different types of pets. And the one we're looking for, remember, is the fish. And then I have all the different color of their houses. Okay, so that's the first thing that I did when I set it up. And honestly, when you start reading the questions, you see something like the Brit lives in the red house. Well, on this table, I'm going based on the positions of the houses, so there's nothing in here that's going to help me with the Brit and the red house. So I thought, what can I do? Well, I can make another matrix, and that's kind of what it is a bunch of cross matrices, right, on top of each other. And then you mix them all together, and it becomes like a puzzle, like a jigsaw that you kind of have to solve. Turns out I only needed two matrices, and my other one, I'll show you right here, was this guy. Okay, so I basically have another matrix that I made on top of that. The only difference is now I wrote their nationalities going left to right. So if I say something like the Brit lives in the red house, well, here's the Brit, and he lives in the red house right here. So he's good. That's him. And all these cannot be. And not only that, all the reds for everybody else, it gets crossed off. Okay. So that's kind of the way I'm going to go about it. I'm going to go between these two tables here and just start crossing things off and see if we can make some connections, okay? So if I pull up my fact sheet, it says the Brit lives in the red house. I already took care of that. It says the Swede keeps dogs as pets. The Dane drinks tea. And also down here it says the Norwegian lives in the first house and the German smokes Prince. So it looks like it tells me a little bit about each of these guys. So I'm going to start marking those off. We'll say, okay, what's the Swede do? He has dogs, right? So I'm going to go over to his pet column. I'm going to circle the dogs, and I'm going to cross off everything else. And then I'm going to cross off dogs for everybody else, right? It also said that the Dane drinks tea, right? So I'm going to circle the tea, and I'll cross off everything else. And I'll cross off tea for everybody else, right? Because they can't drink tea too. And then it said that the Norwegian lived in the first house. Okay, same thing. And it said that the German guy smoked Prince, and that's this thing right there. So I'm going to cross off all the rest of there, and I'll cross off Prince for everybody else. Okay, so that's basically the obvious stuff. Let's see if we can find anything else. Is that right here, the guy that lives in the center house, he drinks milk. So what does that tell me? Well, the Norwegian is in the first house, so he can't be drinking milk. So I go over to the Norwegian, and I'm going to cross off milk off of his thing. That if you look over here at choice 4 or hint 4, it says the greenhouse is to the left of the White House, which means the White House can't be the first house, which means the Norwegian can't live in the White House. So I'll go over to the Norwegian, and I'll find his house color. Whoops. Accident there. His house color, and I'll cross off white because he can't live in the White House. Then down at 7 here, it says that the guy who owns the yellow house smokes Dunhill. Well, we found out the Brit lives in the red house, so guess what? He doesn't smoke Dunhill. Okay, so I go over to what he smokes, cross off Dunhill, and so far he has 3 possible other choices. So I'm going to have to continue this in at least one more video. Hopefully that's it.